Well, Todd, shall we start?
This is Hesketh. Can you guys hear us now?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, we're back on mute.
So, Jeff, let us know if you want to start or if you want to wait.
No, let's start. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let the TV know we're going live.
TV all set?
Just waiting on a response saying we're
Peter DAddio, please don't take your microphone off mute because we're getting a real bad feedback from your channel, so we're gonna have to leave you on mute.
We are live.
Mr. Chairman, we're live.
And I'd like to welcome you to this afternoon's virtual meeting. The required meeting agenda and application materials are all available on the town website. Because in-person attendance at public meetings is likely to increase the risk of transmission of COVID-19, this hearing is being conducted in accordance with Governor Lamont's Executive Order number 7B. Will the town planner, Todd DeMay, please call the roll and explain the virtual meeting rules of quorum and procedure for this meeting?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Todd DeMay, town planner. For the record, Jeffrey Gabriel. For the record, I'll note Mr. Gabriel is here. Kimberly
Yes.
ParsonsWhitaker.
Present.
Ray Giolito.
Present.
And for the record, I will note that Commissioners Schweitzer and Crosby are not present. With that, we do have a quorum. Board members and town staff are participating by WebEx. Members of the public can view the meeting live on West Hartford Community Television or on West Hartford Community Interactive Comcast Channel 5 and Frontier Channel 6098 or at whctv.org. The meeting is also being recorded for on-demand viewing, which is available on the town website. Because of the virtual format of this meeting, there are some special rules and procedures that I need to cover before we begin. First, I ask that all participants please mute their microphones on your devices when you are not speaking. Second, pursuant to Executive Order 7B, all speakers must state their name and title each time they speak. Also, I will ask all members of the committee and the applicant do not address other participants directly. Requests for information must be made through the chair. After you state your name and simply preface your question or comment with "through the chair," when you are done, the chair will recognize the person who is the most appropriate to respond. Although these practices may feel rigid and awkward, they will ensure the meeting is conducted in an orderly fashion and that members of the public who are listening can understand the discussion. With that, the first matter on our agenda is 316 to 340 North Main Street, application filed on behalf of Dotcom Wine Spirits Incorporated, Maximum Beverage. prospective tenant in property located at 316-340 North Main Street within Special Development District number 7. The application seeks permission to convert approximately 7,700 square feet of unused tenant space on the lower level of the shopping plaza into a new wine, beer, and spirit retail store. Associated exterior facade renovations, including additional signage, parking, and landscape improvements are proposed. Formal DRAC receipt on 8/13/20. Town Council public hearing scheduled for 9/8/20. With that, will the applicant please proceed with their presentation?
Presenting.
Mr. Hollinger,
Can you hear me?
you are muted. You're all set now.
Okay. I'm Attorney Tim Hollister representing the applicant. With me are Darren Senna from Hartford Sign, who designed the signage and the new facade. Brooks Fischer from Newman Architects, who did the floor plan and the building, the structural matters and so forth. And from Hesketh and Associates, I have Scott Hesketh and I believe also Ken Lafarge, who can answer questions about the landscaping plan. Brian Whitney, the owner of Maximum Beverage, I believe is going to be on. I did see Peter DAddio, who is the owner of the building. And so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Senna to walk you through the signage. And I believe, Todd, you're going to control the slides.
Todd DeMay, Town Planner. Mr. Hollister, would you like me to pull up the presentation now?
Yes, please. Darren, are you ready to go? Darren, Darren's on mute.
Am I off mute now?
Yes, you're off mute now. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Darren Senna from Hartford Sign and Design. We originally did the sign that you're seeing on the current location. We're going to make some minor modifications to make it so that we can reuse it for this new location that we're proposing. We could flip to the next page. This is the new facade as it sits now. We're going to move that sign, make some modifications to it so that it can be placed on this side of the building, which is the rear of the building. It's obviously that you'd be allowed per the requirements of the town a bigger sign, but we're going to stick with this sign since the investment's already been made. But it'll fit nicely above the storefront, in addition to the awning that we propose to tie in the storefront above the windows. Next page. Someone else can take over. It's not my scope.
Okay.
Landscaping.
Scott and Ken, do you want to say anything about the landscaping plan?
Well, I guess what we're proposing was to add some parking spaces to the rear of the building to comply with the SDD application, and then we were going to add.
If I may interrupt, if you just may identify your name and your title for the record.
I'm sorry. This is Scott Hesketh, traffic consultant for Max Beverage. On the plan here, you see that we're going to add some parking spaces to the rear of the facility, so we can stay in compliance with the SDD applications standards. And then we're going to do some landscaping on the upper left-hand quadrant of this plan. You can see some replaced landscaping in the existing landscaped area. We're taking out some unhealthy vegetation, some trees there, and putting in some low-lying vegetation. And Ken LaForge from our office is here to tell you what types of vegetation that is.
Hi, it's Ken LaForge, landscape architect. We prepared the plan that you're looking at on the screen now. As Scott said, there's a small existing landscape island. We want to slightly berm that island, and we're going to put in a variety of plantings, kind of framing the island with some low shrubbery, some ornamental grasses, some daylilies in that area to help accentuate the entrance to the building, complement the storefront.
And that's all we have at this time.
Okay, well, we can go to the next slide, please, Todd. Thank you. Okay, Darren, you're back on.
Again, to continue, it's basically what we just spoke of is, again, putting the sign from the existing location, just transferring over to this location, along with a shed roof style awning. We did not include any illumination in the awning at this point. That would be left up to the electrician to put some lights under. I think it would be a good idea. Just to illuminate down, not to illuminate the awning, but just to illuminate down underneath the awning, so patrons can have a lit up sidewalk as they walk in. The next page is really what we're here to talk about. Well, I guess that's showing the day-night shot that the sign will be illuminating and the awning is not illuminating at night. So the next page would be the front sign. So in addition to, I believe it's Anytime Fitness, we just want to get some street presence, since the store is behind the building, which again doesn't have a lot of visibility from the road. We want to let people know that again, Maximum Beverage is in the back. So just like Anytime Fitness, we propose to put the sign just above. Obviously it's set very far back from the street. There is some trees in the way. That's why we would change from the original branding colors, which is red, and just make it a white color. So during the day, it'll read well. At night, it'll read well. Anytime Fitness, I don't think their sign person thought it through, because blue during the day or at night doesn't really function that well. And again, that's the reason why we changed it to white versus the red. So we'll neatly place it right above Anytime Fitness. It'll be remote channel letters, and that's really it's pretty straightforward.
Thank you, Darren. And Commissioners, just a reminder, Mr. Fischer from Newman Architects is also on the line if there are any questions of an architectural variety.
Mr. Hollister, this is Todd DeMay, Town Planner. If you could just, since we do have Mr. Fischer on the call here, if you could just have him walk through the relatively two minor changes, again, just highlighting the awning, the materials, how that's going to be affixed, and then also to discuss the change to the storefront glazing system. So I'll just take everyone back to the current condition, which is this. I'll give everyone a chance to see that. This is also in your application materials, and this information is also available for the public to download and view online. Again, so this is the existing storefront, and then this is the proposed. I'll go to the rendering since they are very nice. This is the proposed condition. So if Mr. Fischer could just walk the committee through those minor changes.
Sure, and thank you, Mr. DeMay. This is Brooks Fischer with Newman Architects, the architect of record for this project. As you can see, the current condition of the storefront is really that of an old store that was a back of house warehouse store. It really wasn't designed to welcome the public, and Anytime Fitness, when they came in a number of years back, had put up that large awning where they had hidden some of their mechanical units. What we were intending to do here was to draw the public in to allow for a much more inviting landscaped front. Also, we know that when we put glass on the street or on any area, there's a sense of safety as well in the back. So what we're looking to do here is to allow our patrons to see what's inside, similar to what you'll see at Maximum Beverage now. I'm sure everyone on the call is familiar with Maximum Beverage location in Bishop's Corner now, and we're trying to get the same feel, the illumination from the store coming out onto the sidewalk, and also drawing the patrons in. The awning would be a metal awning with vinyl that would then be affixed to the brick facade that you see there. And as Darren said earlier, the same sign that you see in Bishop's Corner now would be brought down. Now, the changes to the to the facade we've really added 2 panels of glass. What you see in the rendering here directly below the sign and to the right in the rendering are 2 new panels of glass. Currently in that existing drawing, there's really only 3 panels of glass, and it's really not designed to fit what we're doing here. So we're putting in these 3 new panels of glass, centering the sign over it to really accentuate the entrance with the sign and the awning. We recognize that this is really, it's in a way back of house, but we're trying to increase the visibility of the store. As you know, many people do drive behind, especially with Target now in that location as well. I'd be happy to answer any specific questions, but that's the general approach that we took to take it to this level.
Todd DeMay, Town Planner. I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if I see any questions from our committee members, but perhaps you can poll the committee to see if there are any questions or comments.
Yes, are there, Ray or Kimberly, any questions?
Yes, this is Kimberly ParsonsWhitaker. I'm on the Design Review Advisory Committee. Through the chair, I don't remember the answer to this. Is there currently blade signage out front on North Main Street for that plaza? Is that included in a future signage or maximum beverage?
This is Tim Hollister. Darren, did you understand the question?
No, I did not. A blade sign. What are you referring to exactly?
Again, Kimberly ParsonsWhitaker on Design Review. I wasn't sure if there, I just can't remember in that shopping plaza if there is signage, signage for all of the stores, all of the shops within that plaza. I know there are in some in commercial areas in West Hartford. I just honestly can't remember, so I don't know if there's additional signage for Maximum Beverage or any other store that would be included in including in the shopping center itself.
I don't believe so.
Yes, we're referring to the pole sign out by the street. You know, there's a host of all those names. That's what she's referring to.
This is Tim Hollister. Maybe Peter DAddio can answer that question. Peter, can you do that? Take that one. The question is whether there's a blade or a panel sign.
No.
No.
If I can I be heard?
Yes, you can.
Sir. Yes.
Okay, so the pylon sign that exists, the whole market sign that's in this photograph, there's an opportunity for Max Beverage, if they choose to apply, to modify this pylon sign and affix their sign upon it. However, up to this point, the way I've seen the presentation, the only sign that they've requested is for the front of the building and above their storefront.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Todd DeMay, Town Planner. Again, I just pulled up the street view image of the pylon sign or the street sign that committee member ParsonsWhitaker has asked about. So what Mr. DAddio just described is the existing current sign that's there. And I think what I heard him say is there is the ability to modify that should the applicant request the prospective new tenant. And I assume that would be within that existing signage band of those 5 signage spaces, and it would not include an additional construction of sign area outside of that bounding rectangle. Is that correct?
That's really conditioned upon your SDD approval and the tenant's request to add signage. The landlord is comfortable with any sign that's approved by the STD modification or requested by the tenant. That's available if they choose to ask for it, and if your body chooses to, or the town council chooses to approve it. At this point, I have not seen the tenant request any, but I wanted to address the questioned that was there a pylon sign and would the landlord allow additional signage, they would, subject to the process, the tenant requesting it and the municipality approving that request.
Okay, so Jeff Getting, the chairman, is currently not part of the application. It's an opportunity. Okay, understood. Any other questions from committee members? Ray, anything?
Yes, Ray Genito from Design Review. I heard mentioned during the presentation about the awning by Darren, I believe, that there may be some lighting under the awning. Mr. Chairman, could you please find out if someone could confirm or deny that and whether anything's been submitted to that effect on the application?
Okay, anyone?
This is Tim Hollister. Maybe Brooks Fisher can take that.
Okay.
Yes, this is Brooks Fisher with Newman Architects. To date, we have not discussed lighting underneath that sign, that awning at this point. The lighting that is provided by the street lighting and that is on the sidewalk now does meet the required foot candle levels for pedestrians and for cars. The owner at this point has not requested that specifically. If that's something that we can confirm, but that is not in the drawings at this point.
Thank you. Anything else, committee members? I have a couple questions. I appreciate putting the 6 parking places over on that south corner. I understand now that will be an enhancement for people entering and go through a door, I guess, down a ramp to get into the front door from there, so it's accessible. I looked at it the other day, and that seems to be a good spot for that. My question is, the 4 dumpsters that are currently there, are they going to be relocated somewhere in that area in the back?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is Tim Hollister. Yes, that was a comment specifically from Todd Dumay's office, and it came up at the Planning and Zoning Commission review. We are, for our final submission to the council, we're going to provide an exact plan, dumpster, number of dumpsters, location of dumpsters, accessibility, and, whose dumpster is which one. So yes, that will be addressed.
That would be helpful. My general comments, and I appreciate the extra plantings. It is an enhancement, and it is a back door. Yes, we have many in this town, but I think that the improvements to the back, particularly adding more glass, has made the building appear a little more lively back there than it does now. So that I consider as an enhancement, as well as the planting and the parking makes some sense where it is. So as overall from a site, it's a small piece of site, but from my view, it looks like an improvement to that back of the building. And I am interested in seeing how you would perhaps better frame those dumpsters. I know there's not going to be 4 for one building, but it could look a little better back there. There's service for Whole Foods and there's service behind Walgreens. And it's always been something acceptable only because it's that portion of the building. But I think what you can do with the 4 of them would be an enhancement to improve it a little bit. Otherwise, it's a nice little development of site planning.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the Tim Hollister, I think the fact that we're putting parking spaces and a little bit of landscaping over on that side will necessitate, it will follow that the dumpsters will be rearranged.
Thank you. That's all I have. Anything else to add? Boy. Todd, is there anything else that you have questions?
Mr. Chairman, Todd Dumay, Town Planner, I have no further questions. I will remind the committee that this is a formal referral from the Town Council, so a vote is required. Just for the committee's knowledge, this did go to our Planning and Zoning Commission. Attorney Hollister mentioned that in passing 2 weeks ago, and it received a unanimous favorable recommendation for approval by our TPZ. It goes to public hearing at the council's meeting on September 8th.
Thank you, Todd. Is there a motion to be offered by a committee member for this application? Ray or Kimberly?
A quick question.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, just for the three of us that are here, are we interested in at least seeing a copy of the revised site plan and fence detail enclosure of the dumpsters once it's provided? That's typically something that we do like to see.
Yes, I think so. That's something that can be handled to, via email. At least we can have a look at it when you assemble it for the revision to the drawing to go to council. It's understood that it's actually an improvement, so I think if the applicant has no concerns with that, I think that's a reasonable request.
Yes, this is Tim Hollister. We are already preparing, at Mr. DeMay's request, a final package by August 28th for submission and to the council and consideration, and we will gladly include that dumpster plan and provide a copy to each of the Design Review Advisory Commission members.
Thank you, Tim. All right, with that, is there a motion offered? Right, Kimberly? Are you guys muted?
Yeah, I am.
Oh,
I'm not. Somebody unmuted me. Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to recommend approval of the application. I would say it is consistent with the committee's performance criteria. I think we may want to, I would also add subject to a final quick review of dumpster location and enclosure, just so that we have it on the record that we've reviewed it.
thank you. Is there a second, Kimberly?
Yes, I'll second that.
Okay, and sounds reasonable. Would you take a roll call vote, Mr. Planner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Todd May, Town Planner for the record. Ray Giolito.
Right, is he off?
I heard him vote aye. Kimberly ParsonsWhitaker
Aye.
and Ms. Jeff Gabriel.
Aye.
With that, Mr. Chairman, that's a unanimous recommendation for approval for STD Amendment Number 7, 316 340 North Main Street.
Thank you, commissioners.
And
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you all for attending, and thank you for
Just remind
attending.
the committee, we do have one matter of business.
Thank you for your referral.
So we should let the applicant and their team log off, and then we can conduct that matter and dispense with the remaining items on our agenda.
Thank you for presenting.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, it seems like we have a smaller group now. So the next item on our agenda are the approval of our May 28th meeting minutes. At that meeting, everyone here at this meeting, Mr. Gabriel, Mr. Giolito, and Ms. ParsonsWhitaker were all present, so you are all eligible to vote on those minutes. They were sent out in your informational packets and are available on the website.
Yes, I've read them. Have you all read them? Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Giolito made a motion. A second?
I'll second.
Kimberly, thank you. A roll call vote. Town Planner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Giolito,
Aye.
Mrs. ParsonsWhitaker,
Aye.
and Mr. Gabriel.
Aye.
With that, the minutes are unanimously approved. That is the only remaining item on our agenda. It's been a light summer for us, which isn't a bad thing with all of the craziness going around, including tropical storms. Our next meeting on September 10th is scheduled. I do expect and know that we have at least one, but likely we'll have two STD referrals, both of which, one of which is minor in nature, one of which will have a little bit more to it than the application we just reviewed and received. As a reminder, that application was principally coming before Design Review Committee because of the conditional approval restriction on that application. Essentially, when the town council approved amendments to that tenant space about 10 years ago, they said that any change of that back tenant plaza had to go back before the council. So it was vacant space. The one sign on the front of the building was the only other thing that technically required a waiver. The rest of it would be eligible for an administrative amendment. Having said that, like I said, we'll have at least one, I think two applications for us to review at that September 10th meeting. I don't have any other news to report, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that the committee might have at this time.
Are those applications both referral to council, or are they either of them study sessions?
They will both, one will definitely be a formal referral, and it's a relatively minor application that will be coming before you. It was officially received at the council's last meeting, and it is a modification to an approved landscaping plan for a relatively recent STD amendment down at the, I believe it's called the West Farms Plaza. It's not West Farms Mall, but it's the where we approved Ulta Beauty, if you recall that application.
Yes, I remember.
So there was some a request to modify the approved landscaping plan. So that's the one that's officially in, and we'll be going to hearing later in September. And there's the potential for another application to come in down on the West Hartford Place Plaza. So that's the plaza where Chick-fil-A, Aldi, Home Depot, and BJ's is in.
Yep.
And if it comes in as expected, it will likely be some improvements and a slight expansion of the Aldi store. So there'll be some minor landscaping, parking, and configuration improvements there.
Any other questions, Kimberly or Ray?
Nope.
Things to add?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you, Todd. Everybody stay well and be focused.
You too.
Things aren't gonna change for a little while, it looks like, but yeah, all the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, is the meeting now adjourned?
I think we can beam out.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's 5:03, and I'll note for the record that the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks, everybody.
Nice to see you.